Chapter 9. Queen Alice. "Well, this is grand," said Alice. "I never expected I should be a queen so soon. And I'll tell you what it is, your majesty," she went on in a severe tone. She was always rather fond of scolding herself. "It'll never do for you to be lolling about on the grass like that. Queens have to be dignified, you know." So she got up and walked about rather stiffly just at first, as she was afraid the crown might come off. But she comforted herself with the thought that there was nobody to see her. "And if I really am a queen," she said as she sat down again, "I shall be able to manage it quite well in time." Everything was happening so oddly that she didn't feel a bit surprised at finding the Red Queen and the White Queen sitting close to her, one on each side. She would have liked it very much to ask them how they came there, but she feared it would not be quite civil. However, there would be no harm, she thought, in asking if the game was over. "Please, would you tell me," she began, looking timidly at the Red Queen. "Speak when you're spoken to," the Red Queen sharply interrupted her. "But if everybody obeyed that rule," said Alice, who was always ready for a little argument, "and if you only spoke when you were spoken to, the other person always waited for you to begin, you see, nobody would ever say anything, so that—" "Ridiculous!" cried the Queen. "Why don't you see, child?" Here she broke off with a frown, and after thinking for a minute, suddenly changed the subject of the conversation. "What do you mean by if you really are a queen? What right have you to call yourself so? You can't be a queen, you know, till you've passed the proper examination, and the sooner we begin it, the better." "I only said if," poor Alice pleaded in a piteous tone. The two queens looked at each other, and the Red Queen remarked with a little shudder, "She says she only said if." But she said it a great deal more than that," the White Queen moaned, wringing her hands. "Oh, ever so much more than that." "So you did know," the Red Queen said to Alice. "Always speak the truth. Think before you speak and write it down afterwards." I'm sure I didn't mean—" Alice was beginning, but the Red Queen interrupted her impatiently. "Well, that's just what I complain of. You should have meant. What do you suppose is the use of a child without any meaning? Even a joke should have some meaning, and a child's more important than a joke, I hope. You couldn't deny that, even if you tried with both hands." "I don't deny things with my hands," Alice objected. "Nobody said you did," said the Red Queen. "I said you couldn't if you tried." "She's in that state of mind," said the White Queen, that she wants to deny something, only she doesn't know what to deny." "A nasty, vicious temper," the Red Queen remarked, and then there was an uncomfortable silence for a minute or two. The Red Queen broke the silence by saying to the White Queen, "I invite you to Alice's dinner party this afternoon." The White Queen smiled feebly and said, "And I invite you." "I didn't know I was to have a party at all," said Alice, "but if there is to be one, I think I ought to invite the guests." "We gave you the opportunity of doing it," the Red Queen remarked, "but I dare say you've not had many lessons in manners yet." "Oh, manners are not taught in lessons," said Alice. "Lessons teach you to do sums and things of that sort." "Can you do addition?" the White Queen asked. "What's 1 and 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 1? "I don't know," said Alice. I lost count." "Oh, she can't do addition," the Red Queen interrupted. "Can you do subtraction? Take 9 from 8. 9 from 8? I can't, you know," Alice replied very readily. "But she can't do subtraction," said the White Queen. "Can you do division? Divide a loaf by a knife? What's the answer to that?" "I suppose—" Alice was beginning, but the Red Queen answered for her. "Bread and butter, of course. Try another subtraction." Take a bone from a dog, what remains? Alice considered the bone. The bone wouldn't remain, of course, if I took it. And the dog wouldn't remain. It would come to bite me, and I'm sure I shouldn't remain. Then you think nothing would remain, said the Red Queen. I think that's the answer. Wrong as usual, said the Red Queen. The dog's temper would remain. But I don't see how. Why? Look here, the Red Queen cried. The dog would lose its temper, wouldn't it? Or perhaps it would, Alice replied cautiously. Then if the dog went away, its temper would remain, the Queen exclaimed triumphantly. Alice said as gravely as she could, They might go different ways. But she couldn't help thinking to herself, what dreadful nonsense we are talking. She can't do sums a bit, the Queen said together with great emphasis. Oh, can you do sums? Alice said, turning suddenly on the White Queen, for she didn't like being found fault with so much. The Queen gasped and shut her eyes. I can do addition, she said, if you give me time, but I can't do subtraction under any circumstances. Of course you know your ABC, said the Red Queen. Well, to be sure I do, said Alice. So do I, the White Queen whispered. We'll often say it over together, dear. And I'll tell you a secret. I can read words of one letter. Isn't that grand? However, don't be discouraged. You'll come to it in time. Here the Red Queen began again. Can you answer useful questions? She said. How is bread made? Well, I know that, Alice cried eagerly. You take some flour. Where do you pick the flour? The White Queen asked. In a garden or in the hedges? Well, it isn't picked at all, Alice explained. It's ground. How many acres of ground? Said the White Queen. You mustn't leave out so many things. Fan her head, the Red Queen anxiously interrupted. She'll be feverish after so much thinking. So they set to work and fanned her with bunches of leaves till she had to beg them to leave off. It blew her hair about so.